These Nordic countries were never the loudest in Europe, but quietly, they've become the continent's most trusted economic and political model. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland have quietly built some of the world's most resilient and admired societies. But why did it happen? And what lessons can the rest of the world take from it? Welcome to GEOCAPITALIST, where we decode global wealth, one power shift at a time. Today, we will delve deeper into the silent revolution, how the Nordic model quietly took over Europe. Oh, and if you enjoy breakdowns like this, don't forget to subscribe. While Europe's larger powers dominate headlines, Scandinavia's steady, pragmatic approach has become a model for stability and prosperity. Their blend of free market capitalism and robust social welfare has weathered crises that have shaken the rest of the continent. These nations consistently top global rankings in innovation, trust, and quality of life. The secret? A high-trust society where citizens willingly invest in public goods, confident in transparent, effective governance. Now, as the EU faces new challenges, the Nordic model is quietly shaping the continent's future, from green energy to digital innovation. The world is watching. How did these quiet nations become Europe's most trusted compass? This is the story of the Nordic ascent, a blueprint for a more stable, prosperous Europe. While the EU has faced crisis after crisis, financial meltdowns, refugee surges, and political fragmentation, the Nordic nations have charted a remarkably stable course. Norway's sovereign wealth fund shields it from global shocks, while Denmark, Sweden, and Finland lead in green tech and digital innovation. Their secret isn't luck, but long-term planning and investment in people, not just markets. Where others cut back, Scandinavia doubled down on education, healthcare, and social cohesion. The result? High productivity, low inequality, and societies that weather storms without fracturing. As Europe searches for answers, it increasingly looks north. The Nordic model, transparency, trust, and balanced growth, is no longer a curiosity, but a template for the future. Prosperous, fair, and resilient, these nations offer a powerful lesson for a continent in flux. Their quiet success is Europe's new direction. The Nordic model is built on three pillars: universal welfare, flexible labor markets, and progressive taxation. Everyone receives high-quality education, healthcare, and parental leave, not as charity, but as a right. The labor market is flexible for employers, but secure for workers, with strong safety nets and retraining programs. This flexicurity keeps economies dynamic and people protected. High taxes fund these services, but citizens see clear returns: better health, education, and security. The system works because it's transparent, efficient, and trusted. These pillars reinforce each other. Educated, healthy citizens drive innovation, flexible markets adapt to change, taxes fuel the cycle. It's a virtuous loop. Prosperity shared, not hoarded. Decades of careful design have made this model both resilient and sustainable. The Nordic approach proves that smart investment in people pays off for everyone. The real engine of the Nordic model is trust between citizens and in their institutions. People believe their taxes are well spent and that their neighbors play by the rules. This trust is built on transparency, government spending, and decisions are open to all. Corruption is rare, and accountability is the norm. The result? Lower costs for business, less bureaucracy, and a fertile ground for innovation. Trust isn't just cultural, it's a hard economic asset that fuels stability and growth. The Nordic model's success isn't just policy, it's a shared commitment to fairness and community. This cohesion lets these societies make tough choices and adapt to change. For nations seeking stability, the lesson is clear. Trust and transparency are as vital as any law or budget. The Nordic blueprint is as much about values as it is about economics. The data tells the story. Nordic countries rank among the world's wealthiest, with Norway's sovereign fund and Denmark and Sweden's innovation-driven economies leading the way. Finland's tech sector is world-class, and all four nations excel in high-value exports. Their wealth isn't just for the few. Income inequality is among the lowest globally. The Nordic model proves that equality and prosperity can go hand in hand. Economic stability is engineered, not accidental. Strong safety nets and flexible policies cushion downturns. When crises hit, robust welfare systems sustain demand and prevent deep recessions. This resilience attracts investment and fuels a cycle of confidence and growth. The numbers are clear. The Nordic model works, and the world is taking notice. Beyond GDP, the Nordic model's success is illustrated by happiness. Nordic countries dominate the World Happiness Report due to social support, freedom, generosity, and low corruption. These rankings reflect a system enhancing overall quality of life. High life satisfaction is linked to economic resilience. Social safety nets create psychological security, allowing citizens to take risks. This fosters a dynamic, entrepreneurial economy. Happiness is critical for a resilient, innovative economy. Nordic economic resilience is bolstered by investment in human capital and sustainable technology, positioning them as leaders in renewable energy and green industries. Investing in people and the planet builds long-term resilience. Reinvestment into social systems generates happiness and security. This holistic approach views economic stability and happiness as interconnected. A truly stable society is rich in social capital, trust, and well-being. The Nordic model's influence on the EU isn't through grand demands, but a subtle process of policy emulation driven by its success. Confronting inequality and social fragmentation, EU policymakers are looking north for solutions, evident in adopting policies echoing Nordic social investment, like the European Pillar of Social Rights. This shift addresses shortcomings of other economic approaches. Austerity's failures contrast with the Nordic nations' resilience. The EU now discusses investing in human capital, lifelong learning, and childcare. Flexicurity, once a Danish curiosity, gains traction. Despite implementation challenges, its ideas seep into EU labor reforms, balancing business adaptability with worker security. The Nordic model offers a framework for this balance. Its influence stems from delivering prosperity and cohesion, offering an alternative to polarizing ideologies. Europe is reorganizing along Nordic principles. Nowhere is the Nordic model's influence on Europe more pronounced than in the continent's twin priorities, the green and digital transitions. As the European Union pursues its ambitious European Green Deal, aiming for climate neutrality by 2050, it is effectively following a path already blazed by its Scandinavian members. Countries like Denmark, Sweden, and Finland have long been global pioneers in decoupling economic growth from carbon emissions. Their early investments in renewable energy, particularly wind, hydro, and biomass, have provided a working blueprint for how an advanced economy can decarbonize. The EU's strategies for carbon pricing, renewable energy targets, and green technology investments all bear the hallmarks of Nordic policies. This leadership extends beyond just energy production. The Nordic nations have demonstrated a holistic approach to sustainability that Europe is now seeking to emulate. This includes circular economy principles, sustainable urban planning, and green innovation through public-private partnerships. The Nordic emphasis on a just transition ensures the shift away from fossil fuels doesn't leave workers and communities behind. By showing environmental responsibility can drive economic opportunity and job creation, the Nordic countries have provided a powerful narrative for building political consensus. In the digital realm, the Nordic impact is equally significant. Finland and Sweden are among the world's most digitally advanced societies, with superior digital infrastructure, high digital literacy, and innovative e-government services. The EU's Digital Decade strategy draws heavily on the Nordic experience. Digital skills for all citizens, secure digital identity frameworks, and seamless citizen-state interaction online are areas where Nordic countries set the benchmark. Digitalization can create more efficient, transparent, and citizen-friendly services. This dual leadership in green and digital spheres gives Nordic states immense strategic advantage in shaping Europe's future. Their companies lead key industries of the 21st century economy, from green hydrogen to artificial intelligence. Their governance models provide a template for managing societal shifts equitably. As the EU navigates these transitions, it will continue looking to its northern members for proven governance models that can guide the continent towards sustainability and digital empowerment. One of the most tangible power levers underpinning Nordic prosperity is its strategic mastery of energy resources, which has been managed with remarkable foresight. Norway transformed its offshore oil and gas into enduring national wealth. The government channeled the proceeds into the world's largest sovereign wealth fund, acting as an economic stabilizer. Beyond Norway, the Nordic region leads in renewable energy. Sweden and Finland developed hydropower, while Denmark pioneered wind power. This commitment to decarbonization granted them energy independence and a competitive advantage. The management of energy resources is intertwined with the region's public-centric ethos, ensuring benefits are broadly shared. This creates a link between natural wealth and citizens' quality of life, reinforcing the social contract. This provides economic autonomy and resilience. A critical power lever of the Nordic model is its investment in human capital. The system is built on the belief that a nation's greatest resource is its people's knowledge and skills. This is expressed through its world-class publicly funded education system, accessible to all. From early childhood education to tuition-free universities, the state invests in every individual. This ensures a supply of educated, adaptable workers. This focus is linked to the region's capacity for innovation, consistently ranking among the most innovative economies. The high level of education creates a fertile ground for research and development. By providing universal health care, affordable child care, and generous parental leave, the system removes burdens from its citizens. This comprehensive support structure unlocks the economic potential of the entire population. Ultimately, the power levers of the Nordic model are deeply interconnected, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of progress and stability. The Nordic model's economic machinery relies on exceptionally high levels of social trust. This trust is a deeply embedded belief that citizens, institutions, and leaders will act honestly for the collective good. It's the bedrock of their social contract. Citizens willingly pay high taxes because they trust the money will be managed efficiently, not squandered. This high-trust environment is reinforced by an aversion to corruption. Transparency extends to the corporate world, fostering fair competition. Rooted in historical and cultural factors, these values are passed down, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of trustworthy behavior. This culture provides societal resilience, enabling a coordinated response to crises. A critical cultural pillar of the Nordic model is its tradition of consensus building and high civic engagement. Major policy decisions emerge from an inclusive process involving societal stakeholders. The tripartite system, where government, unions, and employers negotiate collaboratively, is a prime example. Nordic countries have high participation in voluntary associations, fostering democratic skills. This creates social networks and builds social capital, reinforcing community. This culture of consensus is reflected in the region's political landscape, characterized by stability. There's broad agreement on welfare state principles, allowing for long-term policy planning. The Nordic model thrives because citizens are active co-creators of their society, fostering a virtuous cycle of trust and engagement. The EU grapples with structural problems, contrasting sharply with the Nordic nations. Sovereign debt burdens several large EU members, particularly in southern Europe, threatening long-term stability. Unlike Norway's sovereign wealth, these nations lack financial buffers for future investments. Compounding this is a demographic challenge. An aging population and shrinking workforce strain public finances. These twin challenges create a debilitating cycle, restricting pro-growth policies. This divergence highlights a fundamental difference in fiscal strategy, explaining the gap in performance. Addressing these structural weaknesses requires difficult choices, making the Nordic approach attractive. Beyond economic and demographic headwinds, the EU faces a crisis of governance and cohesion. Its complex structure involving 27 member states with competing interests can lead to policy gridlock. This makes decisive, long-term strategies difficult to implement. This institutional friction often results in watered-down compromises. This political drift has fueled populism, with nationalist movements capitalizing on public frustration. These movements challenge European integration and liberal democratic values. Populist rhetoric undermines trust in institutions, media, and parties, polarizing society. Ultimately, fractured governance and populism create uncertainty, hindering progress and diverting resources from structural issues. Despite its success, the Nordic model faces internal and external pressures. One challenge comes from immigration and integrating newcomers from different backgrounds. The universal welfare state, designed for a homogeneous population, faces strain with a rapid influx of people needing support. This puts pressure on public budgets for language training, housing, and social assistance. Successfully integrating new populations into a high-trust environment is slow and difficult. Disparities can lead to segregated neighborhoods and social friction, threatening collective solidarity. The flexicurity labor market can create barriers for immigrants lacking specific skills. Policymakers are grappling with this structural vulnerability as it impacts the system's economic and social viability. Immigration forces Nordic countries to confront how to maintain a generous welfare state while ensuring sustainability. Another risk to the Nordic model comes from rising costs of its welfare state and potential asset bubbles. As populations age, the costs of healthcare and pensions escalate. Maintaining public services requires higher taxes or productivity gains. Low interest rates and stability have inflated housing markets, creating bubbles and high household debt. This makes economies vulnerable to interest rate hikes or downturns, impacting financial stability and wealth inequality. Balancing welfare obligations with household debt creates a challenge. Central banks hesitate to raise rates to cool markets, risking further asset inflation. The Nordic model's promise of dynamism and security faces pressure from fiscal sustainability and household fragility, threatening living standards. Nations across the globe are searching for a sustainable path to prosperity. The Nordic model offers powerful, universal lessons, including investing in human capital. A highly educated and healthy populace is an economic asset. Universal access to education and healthcare is a direct investment in future productivity. Another lesson is the economic value of trust, transparency, and low corruption. The Nordic countries prove that a high-trust society operates more efficiently. By prioritizing clean governance, they have created a predictable environment where meritocracy can flourish. The Nordic model also provides a case study in long-term strategic planning. Norway's transformation of oil wealth into a sovereign wealth fund is a masterclass in intergenerational equity. The region's pivot to renewable energy illustrates the advantage gained by anticipating future trends. However, it's important to understand what is contextual. The Nordic model's success is intertwined with specific historical and cultural factors. Therefore, the most crucial lesson for the world is to view the Nordic model not as a rigid, one-size-fits-all dogma, but as a strategic blueprint of adaptable principles. Nations like the United States, with its deeply individualistic culture and federalized structure, cannot simply import a Scandinavian-style welfare state. However, it can learn from the Nordic emphasis on outcomes, such as investing more effectively in early childhood education and preventative health care, to boost long-term productivity and reduce social costs. The lesson is not to become Sweden, but to identify the principles, like investing in human capital, that drive success and adapt them to the local context to solve domestic problems more effectively. For the emerging economies of the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the Nordic model offers a different set of valuable insights. These countries face the immense challenge of balancing rapid economic growth with rising inequality and environmental degradation. The Scandinavian experience provides a proven template for how to decouple growth from carbon emissions and how to ensure that economic progress is shared more broadly to foster social stability. The principle of flexicurity could inspire labor market reforms that protect workers during industrial transitions, while the focus on low corruption is essential for building stable institutions and sustaining long-term development. The Nordic model also serves as a powerful counter-narrative to the idea that nations must choose between a dynamic, free market economy and a strong social safety net. It demonstrates that these concepts are not mutually exclusive, but can be mutually reinforcing. A strong welfare state can foster entrepreneurial culture by providing a secure foundation for citizens. This third-way approach offers a pragmatic alternative to ideological battles between pure capitalism and pure socialism that dominate political discourse worldwide. It proves that a balanced, mixed economy approach can deliver superior outcomes in terms of wealth and well-being. Ultimately, the quiet global ascent of Nordic principles is a testament to its core pragmatism. It is a system continuously refined through evidence-based policy, collaborative problem-solving, and focus on quality of life for citizens. The lesson is not in specific tax rates or benefit levels, but in the underlying philosophy that society's strength is built on trust, investment in people, and commitment to shared prosperity. It is a quiet, powerful idea that offers a compelling vision for any nation seeking a more stable, equitable future in the 21st century. So, what can the rest of the world learn from the Nordic model? Its emphasis on cultural trust and long-term planning? And there you have it, how the Nordic model quietly took over Europe. If this changed how you see global power, hit subscribe. GEOCAPITALIST. Because maps don't lie. See you in my next video.